Hello guys, and welcome back to Supreme Ruler 2030 with our American campaign. We're here starting our campaign. I've set everything up, our production, our research, etc, in the last episode. I started letting the clock go by a little bit for our first pop-up. Recent reports indicate a lack of immediate threats directed towards our nation and allies. Now I find this very interesting, because this game starts you out with no allies. I've already made 14 in like less than a day. But this game starts you out with no allies. NATO doesn't exist. You don't have one ally to speak of. So I'm curious what it's referring to when it says our allies. Anyway, with this valuable insight, it is essential that we prioritize the happiness and well-being of our citizens while concurrently reinforcing and fortifying our military capabilities. By fostering a climate of contentment and prosperity among our population, we can build a resilient and united society. This sounds scary. Simultaneously, we must remain vigilant and dedicated to enhancing the strength and preparedness of our armed forces. This comprehensive approach allows us to thrive internally while ensuring we maintain a robust defense to address any potential future challenges. Honestly, America doesn't really need a robust defense. Look where it's located. Who's gonna invade it? Canada? Mexico? They're safe, you know, just the only reason you need a strong military as America is so that you can get across the world and stick your foot in the door somewhere else, realistically. That's the main reason. Anyway, I've been going around making sure we get even more alliances going, which leads to the capability to make even more alliances, etc., onwards and onwards over and over again until we're allied with like 100 countries. That's why I did this Germany. That's what I'm doing now. We don't really know for sure what's going to happen in this campaign. I just have the little bit of information that I started with South Korea from having tried the campaign in the beta. Recent developments have indicated a significant increase in military activities in both Asia and the Middle East, raising concerns of potential conflicts. Notably, there have been reports of increased preparations by North Korea and Saudi Arabia. The motives behind these actions remain unclear, but we are committed to investigating the situation thoroughly. Rest assured, we will provide regular updates to keep you informed about these evolving situations. Well, I'm now going to start funding insurgency on and opposing the government of North Korea, because now I feel ever so confident that this is going to go exactly like it went in the beta. Now, what I wish I could do is send units just directly to South Korea. Do they need it? Maybe not, I don't know, but I wish I could. However, in the campaigns, you can't customize your settings to make it so that the diplomatic merchant marine isn't on, so the units would just spawn out of my barracks and be across the world, and I don't know if the AI is smart enough to get that moving all the way across the world, so this might take some direct intervention. I realized I forgot to lock off my military goods, so I did that now. We are only using currently this much, and we have producing a lot of stuff. I, again, disabled a lot of my air. Actually, I forget if I mentioned that, but I did that. I need to keep going through this because I keep finding the AI trying to sneak in things that I don't want it to sneak in. We can start automating missile production now that we have the Minutemen in there. Put them on continuous build. Air, ooh, Global Hawk. Oh yeah, I don't know if I ever pointed out what I'm doing for patrol, but basically I just narrowed it down to this one drone that had a pretty decent range it can go, and that's it. No attack value, no nothing, just a generally okay price for a drone that can see very, very far. And then I also started researching like another drone to kind of fill in. Or wait, no, I didn't start researching, because all there was this. And if you can't tell just by looking, it can go much farther, but its range of spotting is much smaller. So it kind of doesn't seem worth it. I'll probably just exclude it. I'm happy with what we have right now. I don't see the need to have a bunch of patrol craft or anything running around in the air. I just have to stay on top of everything else. Since we can observe that we just make way too many military goods compared to what we'll actually use, I'm gonna go ahead and scrap every single mid facility, because this only adds up to 4 full-size facilities anyway, roughly, assuming the values are the same. The values might actually be different now. Max output, max, yeah, no, oh my god. Yeah, okay, no, it's the same. It's like 10 to 1 type of a value. So yeah, we have 33, so this is really a small amount. It's just a little efficiency gain. Same thing with indie goods. I don't think we need this many mids. We have 124 full-size factories. Let's just get rid of all the mids right now. You know, I'm amazed we made it to 2030 and they still didn't add a way to scrap things faster than spam clicking a button. They just, I don't know. Consumer goods, the demand for everything, as you can see, by the way, has actually plummeted now that I've maxed out taxes. So things we weren't actually good on at the start, we are more than good on now. Cons, mids, I can scrap all of that. That is fine. We don't need cons, mids. And as I improve the efficiency, our values for buying and selling will actually improve. As you can see, it's not even profitable for us to be making our own consumer goods, but we are. Same thing with indie goods. Same thing with military goods. One place we'll definitely still need some work is with ore mines. Ore mines, and uranium mines. I'm gonna go ahead and try to make some more in places that are suggested. This is a hydro spot. Not really sure how to exploit that. Well, electricity's fine, so for the period of this campaign, maybe uranium would be better suited there. And that's all we can do for just filling in gaps anyway. So that's all the uranium mines we can make. I just want to make sure we get more of those building because we're clearly going to need more. We're consuming 35k, roughly 34k. We're making 3k currently with 4. So roughly 10 timesing that if we don't include the fact that infrastructure is going to get more efficient. 2, 3 if I build 2 more. We're going to need more. And that's really what it comes down to. This is also completely not taking into account supply, which maybe I would want to look at when figuring out where I want to place these things. Heavily supplied areas would be better than non-heavily supplied areas. This little patch looks good to me, honestly. Let's just go ahead and build up this entire little patch. 26 of them. This is a good where we can actually profit from exporting for what that's worth. Not that uranium is actually worth a lot exported, given the amounts that it's sold in. But for shoring up our own supply, given the limited amount of it in the world, getting started building that wouldn't be too bad. Not to mention the fact that we just make so many indie goods by default, so many. And as it stands, we're just not really going to be using it. Inflation starts at 4.7%. We'll have to see how that trails now that I've like maxed taxes out. Domestics. I see we have way more deaths than births. Now this is how you know you fucked up your algorithms for how GDP affects births. In real life, we do not have anything like this. This needs to be fixed. So many things in this game need to be fixed. This is actually just like a really buggy game, honestly. Like, it's really broken. But it's not just buggy, it's also just broken in design. Like, America should not have over 2 times the amount of deaths as they have births. That's just not how that works. Oh man, they added way more depth and flavor into this campaign than when I tried it in the beta. We got another event here. Following our investigation into South Korea and Saudi Arabia, significant developments have emerged. South Korea believes the situation centers around the allegedly deceased half-brother of leader Kim Jong-un, Kim Jong-nam. North Korea claims that Kim Jong-nam survived an assassination attempt in Malaysia due to aid from South Korea. Additionally, they claim South Korea has been housing and caring for Kim Jong-nam. The South Korean leader assures us that North Korea has no basis for these accusations and expects the retaliatory behavior to cease without bloodshed. Again, assuming this is anything like the beta, that's bullshit. Concerning Saudi Arabia, they claim a spy within Iran reported Iran's collaboration with Russia on a nuclear arms program. The spy is actively seeking additional evidence to substantiate this claim. Due to public opinion favoring the avoidance of foreign wars, direct support for Saudi Arabia and South Korea is currently not feasible. Our primary goal remains to prevent conflicts and restore the status quo. Continuous updates will be provided to keep you informed. Well, that's bullshit. I'm sorry, that's bullshit. What do you mean? Clearly it's going to lead to direct intervention. What am I going to do? Sell them military? I can't turn off the option to allow it to teleport to them, and their AI is not capable, more than likely, of moving it from across the world wisely. Fucking, what was it? Like, nations, Ukraine, wasn't even capable of moving stuff from Germany. So how are they going to move it from my country? They're not, plain and simple. So this will lead to direct confrontation. And what did it say about our role? Prevent conflicts and restore status quo without direct interference? What are you gonna do? Give me choices? Events? I understand this is flavor. I'm just being nitpicky, but like, they're making it sound to the untrained, like, player as if I'm about to have a bunch of important choices to make. I'm not. It's just gonna be flavor text until a war starts. Despite South Korea's assurances, it has now been revealed that they were indeed housing and taking care of Kim Jong-nam. This discovery has ignited intense anger and rage from leader Kim Jong-un, leading to the declaration of direct warfare against South Korea. However, China has vowed to protect and restore the integrity of North Korea, offering its full-fledged support against South Korea. How is this a however? This is a in addition, additionally, not however. This is like the opposite of what I expect to hear after however, with tensions reaching a critical point. So basically, alliances, China and what? Nobody? Probably the colony. It's probably counting colonies because it does that by default. Unless you go manually tell it not to every time you start the game. Oh, there you go. One ally. China, yeah. South Korea's only ally is me. There is now war in North Korea. Looking at their military unit stock, I can see that they certainly have the ability to wage war. They have way more money than North Korea. I can go ahead and just support their government. Try to help them out if I can while opposing, etc. North Korea. But China's involvement is going to be the real problem. They have the most deployed right now of anybody in the world. Then there's Russia. So I expect this to be pretty bad. Russia, I'm sure, will somehow get involved. Iran, Saudi Arabia, blah, blah. It's going to suck. Especially because, again, I can't just transfer units because you can't, like, enable that. Ooh, they have a tech I don't have. You can't enable that standardly. Oh my fucking 10 billion. But they only want to charge me 3.5. Yeah, I'll buy a tech. Free tech. Sure, well, free. I paid for it. Speaking of techs, I haven't really looked around for this stuff. We don't need molecular electronics. We're already getting that. Let's go around and pick up some techs we don't already have. We're not going to have research sharing with anybody or anything because, well, we're ahead of everybody anyway. I'll look around more once those trades go through. We've just been going up and up in money. Our budget is doing great. We're actually having a trade surplus and a budget surplus. I could go ahead and raise my social assistance spending and still probably have a positive budget. It's a very bare positive budget, but I can afford it. I'll probably mess around with that because spending money isn't going to be my problem. My problem is just going to be moving units where they need to be moved. Although at the end of the day, I don't think you can lose a campaign unless you lose. So it's really just going to come down to probably certain nations need to die and I need to go about making it happen somehow. The fighting has begun and North Korea just has an absolute fuck ton of units. Definitely more than South Korea is working with currently on the front line. South Korea's units are coming from the rear, however. South Korea does have a technological advantage. In the sandboxes, South Korea usually does amazingly. As long as I funnel them with money, theoretically they would be able to purchase more units and expand themselves at a reasonable rate. Let's see, they're doing pretty well by default. They have more military production. It's over here now, that's right. I hate how they move things. I don't think I will ever adjust to this. They are not making anything. I guess we are at the start. My alliances are pouring in. Oh, what the fuck is this now? Saudi Arabia has officially declared war on Iran, citing evidence gathered by their spy of Iran's nuclear arms program. Despite urging Saudi Arabia to share any new information with us, they have taken matters into their own hands. In response, Russia, a key supporter of Iran's nuclear program, has pledged its support against Saudi Arabia. Due to our limitations, we are unable to provide direct support to Saudi Arabia like Russia. However, we must work diligently behind the scenes to help Saudi Arabia navigate and survive this escalating conflict. And how exactly do you want me to do that if I can't enable the ability for units to teleport to their destination? Like, what's the deal here? What do you expect from me? How are these two countries even gonna fight? They don't share a border. They're already shooting missiles at each other. North Korea's numerical advantage can really be seen at this point. I've started trying to move some units to send them over to South Korea because I feel like South Korea will need the most help. The AI is fighting me a little bit because it gets dumb when it's inland. I've gone around continuing to make alliances. I have 145 allies at this point. Okay. United States finds itself amidst a conflicting atmosphere, torn by isolationist sentiments prevailing among its citizens. Domestic growth and reluctance to engage in foreign conflicts have gained public support. Consequentially, direct warfare is an unaffordable option, risking a backlash from the public. However, our strategic allies, South Korea and Saudi Arabia, face the detrimental effects of wars indirectly fueled by Russia and China. To safeguard vital strategic territories, subtle support for South Korea and Saudi Arabia becomes imperative. Balancing the protection of our allies while tactfully evading direct confrontation is pivotal for the success of this mission. Support from the shadows. Both South Korea and Saudi Arabia have sought assistance from us, but we are constrained from direct involvement in the conflict due to public aversion towards foreign wars. Our approach is to offer troops and resources to ensure the survival of both nations, while maintaining secrecy to avoid provoking a declaration of war against us and the consequential outrage of our citizens regarding our indirect participation in a foreign conflict. Our current strategy revolves around supporting from the shadows, but why is there such a heavy focus on that when you can't even do that in this campaign due to the AI and the fact that the campaigns don't let you customize if you can actually directly send troops or not? I don't understand. Taking a moment to look at our own nation, doing social assistance did turn out to be kind of unprofitable, so I just kind of went back on it. I backtracked. Our inflation's actually going down. It's down to 4.2. Credit rating super high, so I'm making money again. I should focus on doing things that will assist me in the long run. I don't know if this amount of uranium mines will be enough, but we have other resources we need too, such as ore mines. I'm just going to go with suggested location for these for the time being. I see they can go with some coal mines as well. Coal is not going to be as important. Coal is made, well, ore mines as well are made pretty easily. In that case, you know what, just forget about that. I'm not going to do that. I'll place these manually. You know what, actually, oh god, only 2 could ever fit here anyway. But it's fine. Look how much we make with 10. Roughly over 200,000 right now, and we need about 800,000, so we don't actually need that much. That's 8. That's 10. That's another 10, so we're doubling. I'll do 14, so that's roughly around 600,000 with current infrastructure spending, but it's gonna improve. But I'll still put another 2, because it is a profitable resource. This is just to get some more building going, get ourselves a little more self-reliant on important things. The price of oil's crashing just due to the stockpiles that you start out with at the start of the game. Coal's actually cheaper to buy, would you look at that? And I don't think there's any particular reason for that. We have just still way too much rubber. Selling it is pointless. So let's go ahead and shut down, let's say, another 25 rubber synths to try to save some money. Agriculture has become self-sustaining very quickly. I believe I can safely get rid of the nuclear small facilities. We make way too much electric power anyway, so that's fine. We also make way too many indie goods, but I can stretch that. Same thing with consumer goods, and like this is actually a problem though. Because, well, it's limiting production anyway, so that's not too bad. Taking a look at the starting statistics, it's pretty crazy. So China's killed 14 and lost 3. They have a pretty good KDR. Saudi Arabia has killed 13, lost 5 subsequently. Iran has killed 5, lost 17. Russia has just lost 5 and killed none. South Korea has killed 155 and lost 25. And North Korea has killed 18, lost 153. I think with enough direct support, not even direct, just a big delivery of units, I think South Korea could power through both North Korea and China. They could sure do that in SRU. Their tech is usually so good. Although what I have going over to them right now is notably cheaper. It's just light infantry, which is from... Does it tell me on the screen? No, I have to go here, I think. It's from 1960. Now, the numbers are very squished to make even units like this be very effective, but surely this is probably not as good as a lot of the stuff they're using. But I start out with 300 of them, and in fact, I believe they make up like half of my infantry force. Now, I'd rather just get the more modern stuff building, like these Bradley IFBs, and the things that I'm going to have replacing them. The AI is usually pretty good about balancing them out based on your stocks. So I'm sending all 300 over to South Korea right now. Saudi Arabia, I haven't really figured out what to do. I mean, look at this. Saudi Arabia has permission to go through Iraq. I don't know that Iran can do the same. If they can, They're not notably doing it. Only Saudi Arabia is really spilling through, and Saudi Arabia, for now, I feel like has a pretty good defensive location. We could probably ally with Iraq at this point. Actually, no, we can't. Still just continuing my allying everybody campaign that I've been doing. It's been going pretty well. Saudi Arabia I'm less concerned about right now. I'm far more concerned about South Korea, but I did go ahead. I started supporting financially just the government of Saudi Arabia, opposing in every way Iran. Saudi Arabia's money is not doing too hot. How's the credit ratings at 70% right now for South Korea? They're burning through money, 65%. How is the military goods of each of these nations? South Korea has 85K. Saudi Arabia has... I can't see because they won't actually ally with me yet. Great. Iraq has actually scored a kill. I think Iraq might be assisting Saudi Arabia somewhat in their more even war against Iran. Well, Saudi Arabia's KDR is doing better. Russia's not providing the best of help. China, I'm seeing getting more and more directly involved. Their own KDR starting to falter as they reach the front line. But I'm just keeping an eye on it. There's not a lot I can really do other than watching their money, sending them money. They are both taking out tons of debt to fuel themselves. So sending them money might end up being a pretty smart thing to do. I'll have to balance that with actually building stuff. However, looks like usage of rubber is kind of faltering out. Let's put facilities offline. Bring that number down to 60 for now as we try to kind of seek out a more maintainable equilibrium for the time being. While the fronts are filled with fighting, North Korea is deciding to try to invade this heavily defended island. Very weird. The frontier is definitely not in South Korea's favor. They have not really enough units, if you ask me. They're still burning through their money really quickly. They're spending a lot of it on military goods, I believe. I only have 67K, so maybe I'm not the right person to just be sending it to them. Although I can now produce it at a pretty good rate. I actually... Oh, that's why. I've only left it at 11% production of capacity. I didn't actually move it up to 100. I'm going to pump that up to 100, and so that will hopefully fix that. But yeah, they don't have enough units. They have better units, but they're being overwhelmed, and that's really the problem that they're encountering. Their KDR is nothing short of miraculous. They've already killed 340 North Korean units, but look at this. There's still so many more, and now the Chinese military's ganging up on them too. I don't know that my units can even reach South Korea at this rate. Yeah, I can definitely see the overwhelming amount of North Korean and Chinese units that have been given unto them is starting to push back the South Koreans. They don't even really have time to get up garrisons or anything. So even though they have a tech advantage, just this overwhelming force is going to prove to be a little unbeatable after a point. They are not going to hold on to Seoul at this rate. Their units are going to start getting crushed as they get pushed backwards. Some of my infantry are getting there, but these are the ones that were already on islands. The rest of them are still on the way, a very long way. And some of them haven't even set sail yet because I had to get them in the correct location to even get them moving. Holy crap, I looked away for a little bit to micromanage my units to get them out. And South Korea has just deployed motherfucking everything, man. Look at this. They are scrambling to try to afford it, but yeah, they've deployed basically everything in their reserves at this point. This isn't all of it. And it's managing to not only hold back this enemy line, but deliver some pretty devastating casualties. Now, they've taken a lot of devastating casualties with all of these units that are unprepared for this fighting, but they're shoring up a line and the enemies are being held back and they're even retaking some land. Now here's a lot of the problem of it. It's like a lot of old unprepared units just sitting on top of each other. They have some light infantry already as well. Well, hopefully they do well. I see they're moving their units from here and trying to sail them, but ooh, these Chinese ships are gonna be a problem. Uh-oh. Especially as they pass through here. This is just free kills for China. Right here, you can't just sail through this part. Unfortunately, there's really nothing I can do to help them there. This is their own pathfinding. This is their own problem they've created. Hopefully just the sheer amount of them can get through, because they really need whatever troops they can get on this front line right now. And this is so much more interesting, intense, and more important than what's going on in Saudi Arabia, who just keeps trying to push in and failing repeatedly over and over again. Iran has actually landed in Saudi Arabia and started trying to push. Looks like Saudi Arabia did manage to get some garrisons up, and their returning units will eventually respond to this. The Iranian units operating here are not really very long for this world, to be honest. They can't do a whole lot. If Saudi Arabia loses this with where they're located geographically, I will be surprised. I think this is of far more consequence. I'm starting to get light infantry here. What I'm going to end up doing is I'm just going to end up handing over the troops that I have to South Korea. So let's test that on a small scale right now. So all I want to do is reassign forces. I don't need anything from them. It's just a simple one-way transaction of I give you troops and we see what happens. All of these light infantry should join them, and this is just a small taste. This is like, what, 6 units. I have 300 of these, so there's a lot more coming. We're just figuring out how this is going to work. Hopefully those get moving up to the front. Now, it's better probably if I do it like in bulk, and then they just get access to all of these crazy amounts of units at once. I've just never really utilized this feature outside of a little bit of multiplayer testing, so I kind of want to see how it goes. But I need to speed things up for them to actually accept the offer. And there you go. Instantly, they're all South Korean. And so the AI should be able to do a little bit of thinking and then get those up to the front line. Nice and easy. Now we just need to get like 300 more of those up to the front. I had a problem here with a lot of my units getting stuck that tried to sail out from this location. These ones don't look like they want to move at all for anything. So that's wonderful. Some of them just appear to be permanently stuck, unfortunately. Some of them are recovering. This is what I looked away from. But as you can see, they're not listening. Something about right here, the AI really doesn't like. But if I min-max them a little bit, hopefully we can get them moving correctly eventually. But as predicted, Saudi Arabia is responding to the incursion with their units that have repaired from trying to push into Iran and failing. That's good. They really just need to survive, that's all. I think basically everything here... No, they got a port. Okay, I was wondering how they even transported here. They took a port. But this should be probably Saudi Arabia's focus, I assume. And then it should be fine. My colonies are automating trade with me. I don't expect this to go too poorly. If they want to repair, they have to go home. They're going to keep sailing units down here, of course, but I think Saudi Arabia can handle it for now. I've looked back at South Korea, and all the light infantry that I had already sent is missing. Meaning they've probably moved it up to the front, moved it to repair or something, but they've taken control of it. Okay, this might be some of it. Light infantry moving. Or I might have just looked away for so long that it's already on the front, honestly. One way or another. Oh yeah, I think I could see some of it already. Yeah, it's on the front. Alright, good. That's good. You can see the crazy amounts of fire exchanging. This is going to be insane. I don't know if the game actually expects anything from me. It just expects me to do things myself, but it's going pretty well so far, if I say so myself. South Korea's basically virtually stopped losing units at all. China's losing an insane amount of units on land, even though they've dealt most of the kills. Saudi Arabia's KDR is not great, but they're holding. I'm still more concerned with seeing South Korea push, because they need to push up to the end of North Korea, and then China might just declare direct war for all I know. They have definitely the more challenging situation. However, this is a nice full episode already, so I hope you guys are enjoying this series. It's definitely going much better than the Russia one, given that we're playing a high GDP country. Let me know your thoughts on events and strategies so far, and for now, thank you guys very much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.